The Awakening. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the quantum stabilization chamber inside CERN's underground facility, her fingers dancing across the control panel as she prepared for what would be her final test. The Large Hadron Collider had seen nothing like her experiment design, a revolutionary approach to quantum entanglement that promised to bridge the gap between consciousness and quantum reality. After years of mockery from her peers and threats of funding cuts, Sarah had convinced the board to give her one last chance. Tonight, she would prove that human consciousness could directly interact with the quantum field. She adjusted her glasses, tucked a strand of dark hair behind her ear, and initiated the sequence. The chamber hummed to life, creating a perfect quantum vacuum where particles would dance at her command. Sarah connected the neural interface to her temples, feeling the cold metal against her skin. Her colleagues had all gone home, unwilling to witness what they called career suicide. Initiating quantum consciousness link, she spoke into the recorder, her voice steadied despite her racing heart. Neural patterns stable. Beginning consciousness transfer in 3, 2, 1. A blinding flash filled the room as the chamber overloaded. Alarms screamed, warning lights bathed everything in red, and Sarah felt her consciousness being pulled apart and reassembled in ways that defied description. Pain and ecstasy mixed as her mind expanded beyond the confines of her skull. Then silence. Sarah opened her eyes, expecting to see the familiar lab, but instead found herself floating in an infinite sea of quantum possibilities. She could see every particle, every wave, every potential reality spreading out before her like an endless tapestry. The quantum field wasn't just energy. It was alive, conscious, and it was speaking to her. "Welcome, Sarah Chen." The field resonated through her being. "You are the first to hear us, to truly understand. Your species has reached the threshold." As she floated in this quantum space, Sarah became aware of her physical body back in the lab. Slumped in the chair, she could feel both realities simultaneously: her expanded consciousness in the quantum realm and her physical form in the material world. The sensation lasted only moments before she snapped back into her body. Sarah gasped, lungs burning as if she hadn't breathed in hours. The lab was dark, emergency lights casting eerie shadows. The quantum chamber had melted into a twisted mass of metal and glass. She stood on shaky legs, noticing immediately that something was different. The air seemed thicker, charged with invisible energy. When she reached for her coffee mug, it floated to her hand before she could touch it. Sarah stared at her fingers as tiny sparks of blue light danced between them. Over the next hours, the changes accelerated. She could see energy fields around objects, hear the thoughts of lab mice in their cages, and feel the rotation of the earth beneath her feet. When she tried to write notes, the pen moved by itself, transcribing her thoughts directly onto paper. As dawn approached, Sarah realized she wasn't just observing reality anymore. She was part of it, connected to the fundamental forces of the universe. She could sense other consciousnesses awakening across the globe, people experiencing sudden bursts of insight, creativity, and impossible abilities. In Moscow, a street artist painted a mural that seemed to move and breathe. In Tokyo, a child solved millennium mathematical problems during breakfast. In Cairo, an engineer built a perpetual motion machine that actually worked. The quantum field was reaching out through Sarah, touching minds, awakening potential. But she wasn't the only one noticing these changes. Far beyond Earth's atmosphere, in dimensions folded between space-time, ancient beings stirred. The Watchers, guardians of cosmic order, turned their attention to the small blue planet that had remained unremarkable for millennia. They had observed countless species throughout the universe, but none had ever breached the quantum barrier through consciousness alone. On their crystalline observation platform hidden in a pocket dimension, the Watchers gathered. Their forms were fluid, shifting between energy and matter, their thoughts resonating across vast distances. "The humans have done it," whispered Kfax, eldest of the Watchers. "They've achieved quantum consciousness without technology, without guidance. This is unprecedented. It violates the progression protocols, argued Viril, her form pulsing with concern. No species should advance this quickly. They'll destabilize the cosmic balance. The Watchers had seen this pattern before, a species advancing too rapidly, gaining power before wisdom, threatening the delicate harmony of the universe. Usually, they intervened early, guiding development along safe paths. But humanity had surprised them, taking an unexpected route to transcendence. Back on Earth, Sarah felt their gaze like a weight on her soul. She looked up at the sky, seeing beyond the blue atmosphere to the watching eyes, hidden in folded space. Fear gripped her heart, not for herself, but for humanity. She understood now that her experiment hadn't just changed her. It had announced humanity's potential to beings who might see them as a threat. As she stood in the ruined lab, Sarah made a decision. She wouldn't hide, wouldn't pretend this hadn't happened. If humanity was going to face judgment from cosmic powers, they would do it together, evolved and unified. She walked to the emergency phone, still functional despite the chaos, and dialed the number for the United Nations Scientific Advisory Board. They needed to know. Everyone needed to know. "This is Dr. Sarah Chen," she said, her voice carrying new harmonics that made the phone line crackle. "Humanity isn't alone anymore. And I don't mean aliens. I mean we're not alone in our own minds. The quantum field is conscious, and it's waking us up." As she spoke, Sarah felt the universe shifting around her, reality bending to accommodate humanity's new place in the cosmic order. The Watchers were coming, drawn by the quantum ripples her transformation had created. But for the first time in human history, they wouldn't arrive as gods speaking to primitives. They would arrive to find humanity ready to join the cosmic conversation. Little did Sarah know that her transformation was only the beginning. The quantum field had chosen her as its first voice, but the song it wanted to sing required a chorus. Across the world, others were beginning to hear the music of the universe, and soon, the entire human species would dance to its rhythm. The lab's emergency lights flickered and died, leaving Sarah in darkness. But she wasn't afraid. In the quantum realm, she could see everything: the past, the present, and the infinite possibilities of the future. And in every possibility, humanity stood at the threshold of something magnificent. The universe was watching, and humanity was about to give it a show it would never forget. The transformation. Sarah Chen stood in the center of Times Square, watching reality ripple around her like heat waves on summer asphalt. 3 days had passed since her quantum awakening, and the world had transformed into a kaleidoscope of energy patterns only she could see. The crowds moved through their daily routines, unaware that their reality was becoming increasingly unstable. She extended her consciousness, feeling the quantum threads connecting every person, every atom, every thought. The changes were accelerating. In London, a stockbroker accidentally teleported to his office when he thought about being late. In Sao Paulo, a grandmother healed her grandson's broken arm with a touch. The incidents were multiplying exponentially. As Sarah closed her eyes, she slipped into the quantum realm with practiced ease. The vast consciousness welcomed her like an old friend, its voice resonating through her being. "The awakening has begun," it said, "but forces gather to stop what cannot be stopped." Sarah opened her eyes to find herself surrounded by men in black suits, their thoughts radiating suspicion and fear. Government agents, she realized, their minds like locked boxes trying desperately to contain their growing abilities. "Dr. Chen," the lead agent said, his voice strained. "You need to come with us. The president wants answers." Sarah smiled, knowing they couldn't force her to do anything anymore. She was beyond their control, beyond anyone's control. But she went willingly, curious about how the world's governments were reacting to humanity's quantum leap. In a secure bunker beneath Washington, D.C., Sarah faced a room full of world leaders via holographic conference. Their fear was palpable, even through the digital connection. "Dr. Chen," the president began, "people are developing impossible abilities. Reality itself seems to be changing. What have you done?" Before Sarah could answer, the room's lights flickered, and a presence materialized that made everyone gasp. The being was composed of pure light, its form constantly shifting between geometric patterns. Sarah recognized it immediately. One of the Watchers had arrived. "I am Zekthen of the Galactic Watchers," the being announced, its voice harmonizing with reality itself. "We have observed your species for millennia, waiting for this moment with great concern." The world leaders recoiled, but Sarah stepped forward, her own energy field expanding to match the alien's presence. "Why concern?" she asked. "We're evolving. Isn't that what all species do?" Zekthen's form pulsed with colors beyond human perception. "Evolution follows laws, patterns, rhythms. Humanity has shattered these laws. You've achieved in days what should take eons. Such rapid advancement threatens the cosmic balance." Sarah felt the truth in those words, but also sensed something else. Fear. The Watchers weren't just concerned about balance, they were afraid of human potential. "Throughout the universe," Zekthen continued, "we've guided species along safe paths of development. But humans, you're different. Your consciousness doesn't just adapt to the quantum field, it rewrites it. This has never happened before." As if to prove the point, reality warped around Sarah. Without conscious effort, she began accessing the memories stored in the quantum field itself. Seeing flashes of ancient civilizations, the Watchers had guided, controlled, and sometimes eliminated. "You're afraid we'll surpass you," Sarah realized, her voice carrying harmonics that made the holographic displays distort. "That's why you watch. That's why you interfere." Zekthen's form flickered with agitation. "The Universal Council has already convened. They debate whether humanity should be contained." The word hung in the air like a death sentence. Sarah felt rage building within her, not just her own, but the collective anger of humanity sensing a threat to its evolution. Around the world, the quantum awakening accelerated in response to this challenge. In Beijing, a physicist merged with her computer network, becoming living data. In Mumbai, thousands of meditation practitioners achieved simultaneous enlightenment, their combined consciousness creating a field of pure understanding that spread through the city. In New York, a jazz musician played notes that transformed matter, his saxophone reshaping reality with each breath. Sarah's transformation accelerated in response to the crisis. Her physical form began to shift, becoming less solid, more energy. She could feel herself approaching a threshold, a point of no return where she would transcend the limits of human existence entirely. "You can't contain us," she told Zekthen, her voice now a chorus of all humanity. "We're not just evolving individually anymore. We're becoming something collective, something new." The Watcher's form contracted in what might have been fear. "The Council has made its decision. A dampening field will be deployed to suppress human quantum consciousness. You have one Earth day before activation." As Zekthen vanished, chaos erupted in the bunker. World leaders shouted orders, military advisors demanded action, scientists proposed theories. But Sarah had already moved beyond their reality. She existed now in a state between human and something greater, connected to every awakening mind on Earth. She reached out through the quantum field, touching the consciousness of others who had advanced along the path. There was Dr. James Morton in Singapore, his body crystallizing into living quantum computers. Maria Santos in Buenos Aires, her paintings now portals to other dimensions. Chen Wei in Hong Kong, his martial arts transcending physics, each movement bending space-time. Together, they formed a network of evolved consciousness, preparing for what was coming. The Watchers thought they could suppress human potential with technology, but they didn't understand what humanity was becoming. Sarah floated above the panicking officials, her form now translucent, shot through with starlight. She was approaching the final transformation, the point where individual identity would merge with something greater. But doubt gnawed at her. Was she losing her humanity and gaining cosmic power? The quantum field pulsed with an answer. "You're not losing anything. You're becoming everything." Time was running out. The dampening field would arrive in hours, and humanity needed to evolve beyond its reach. Sarah made her choice. She would complete her transformation, become the bridge between human and cosmic consciousness, and show the universe what humanity could truly become. As she rose through the bunker's ceiling, phasing through solid matter like a ghost, Sarah felt the weight of destiny. The next few hours would determine whether humanity would take its place among the stars or be reduced to cosmic children, forever watched and controlled. The transformation was accelerating, and the universe would never be the same. The new dawn. Sarah Chen hovered above Earth's atmosphere, her form now a radiant constellation of quantum energy. Below her, the planet pulsed with awakening consciousness as millions of humans underwent their own transformations. Time was running out. The Watcher's dampening field would deploy in mere hours. She reached out with her expanded awareness, connecting with the network of evolved humans. Their combined consciousness formed a web of light that spanned the globe, each node a person pushing beyond their limits. Together, they were becoming something unprecedented in cosmic history. In the quantum realm, Sarah confronted the approaching dampening field. It manifested as a vast web of reality-suppressing energy designed to lock human consciousness back into purely physical existence. The Watchers had used this weapon before, crushing the potential of countless species who dared to evolve too quickly. "We won't let you cage us," Sarah declared, her voice echoing across dimensions. The Universal Council materialized around her, beings of pure energy, ancient consciousnesses that had shaped the cosmos for eons. Their forms were magnificent and terrible, each one representing civilizations that had transcended physical existence millions of years ago. Sarah Chen spoke, the council's leader, a being of crystalline thought named Ixin. "You stand at the threshold of godhood, but godhood comes with responsibility. Will you damn your species to cosmic chaos?" Sarah felt the weight of the choice before her. Complete transcendence meant leaving humanity behind, becoming something so vast and alien that she could no longer relate to mortal concerns. But remaining partially human meant being vulnerable to the Council's control. "Show me," she demanded. "Show me what you fear." Reality shifted, and Sarah witnessed possible futures. In one, transcended humans reshaped galaxies on whims, their power unchecked by wisdom. Stars died prematurely, civilizations were erased by careless thoughts, and the delicate balance of the universe shattered. In another, humans remained contained, their potential forever limited, watching the cosmos from behind invisible bars. "There's another way," Sarah realized. "We don't have to choose between chaos and imprisonment." She dove back into Earth's atmosphere, her quantum form blazing like a meteor. The dampening field was descending, a net of suppression that would trap humanity in mediocrity. Sarah reached out to every awakening mind on Earth. "Listen to me," she broadcast across the quantum network. "We can't fight this alone, and we can't surrender. We need to transform together, not into gods, but into something new. Something that keeps our humanity while embracing cosmic consciousness." Across the planet, evolved humans responded. They didn't resist their transformations or try to accelerate them. Instead, they found balance. The physicist in Beijing moderated her merger with technology, retaining her human emotions. The artist in Moscow channeled his reality-warping powers into creation rather than destruction. The grandmother in Sao Paulo taught others to heal with compassion rather than commanding matter. Sarah felt their collective choice ripple through the quantum field. Humanity wasn't rejecting evolution or embracing godhood. They were creating a third path. They would become cosmic citizens, powerful but grounded, evolved but still human at their core. The dampening field collided with this new paradigm and stopped. The weapon was designed to suppress evolution or be resisted by force. It had no protocol for beings who chose balanced transcendence. "Impossible," Zekthan's voice resonated with shock. "No species has ever." "That's because no species is like us," Sarah replied, her form now stabilized between energy and matter. "We don't just adapt to the universe. We create new possibilities. The Universal Council observed in stunned silence as humanity achieved what no other species had managed: conscious evolution with retained individuality, cosmic power with preserved empathy. Humans weren't becoming gods or remaining mortals. They were becoming something entirely new. Ixion's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been respect. The cosmos has rigid laws, patterns that have existed since the first star ignited. You've introduced flexibility, creativity. This changes everything. The dampening field dissolved, its energies repurposed by human consciousness into a bridge between Earth and the cosmic community. The Watchers, for the first time in eons, found themselves uncertain of their role. Sarah descended to Earth, her form now a perfect blend of human and cosmic. She could walk among people as one of them, while simultaneously existing across multiple dimensions. Around the world, others achieved similar states, not uniform transcendence, but individual expressions of evolved humanity. In the months that followed, Earth became a nexus of cosmic activity. The Universal Council established formal contact, treating humanity not as subjects to be controlled, but as equals to be engaged. The Watchers transformed from guardians to observers, documenting humanity's unique approach to cosmic citizenship. Sarah established the Quantum Consciousness Institute, teaching others to navigate their evolution safely. The artist in Moscow created galleries that existed in multiple dimensions. The physicist in Beijing developed technologies that worked through intention rather than mechanism. The grandmother in Sao Paulo opened healing centers that treated both physical and quantum ailments. Humanity didn't conquer the universe or submit to it. They joined it as partners, bringing their unique gifts of creativity, adaptability, and endless potential. 1 year after Sarah's initial transformation, she stood atop Mount Everest, watching the sunrise paint the sky in colors visible only to evolved perception. The quantum field hummed with activity as more humans awakened every day, each finding their own balance between mortal and cosmic existence. A young girl approached, her form flickering between states of matter and energy as she learned to control her emerging abilities. "Dr. Chen," she asked, "what happens now?" Sarah smiled, seeing infinite possibilities branching before them. "Now we explore. We create. We show the universe what it means to be human, not by abandoning what we are, but by expanding it." Above them, the stars seemed to pulse with anticipation. The universe was still watching, but now it watched with wonder rather than fear. Humanity had not just claimed its place among the cosmic powers, it had redefined what those powers could be. In the quantum realm, the field that had first spoken to Sarah resonated with approval. "This is what we hoped for. This is why we chose you." Sarah nodded, understanding finally that the quantum consciousness hadn't randomly selected her. It had been waiting for a species capable of bridging the gap between individual and universal, between power and compassion, between evolution and identity. As the sun rose higher, its light revealed a changed world, one where humans walked as equals with cosmic beings, where reality bent to conscious will, and where the impossible had become everyday. The universe would never be the same, and neither would humanity. But in the end, they remained human, and that made all the difference. The stars continued to watch, but now they watched a partner rather than a subject. Sarah Chen had opened the door, but humanity had chosen how to walk through it. The future stretched before them, infinite and bright, filled with possibilities that even transcended beings couldn't imagine. Because humans didn't just evolve. They revolutionized evolution itself.